All right, hey there, everybody. I'm Ramsey, and welcome to the second edition of The Foam Finger. I'm here with Serge. Say what's up to everybody, Serge.
Hey everybody, how's you doing today?
All right, and straight into the news like we like here. Big news in the NFL, and it is not the Darrelle Revis holdout. We go to the West Coast instead for a holdout of three superstars. The San Diego Chargers, Vincent Jackson, Sean Merriman, and Marcus McNeil are currently holding out. What do you think about this, Serge?
Well, personally, I'm loving it because they're AFC West rivals to the Raiders, which is my team. So, hey, guys, hold out all season long. I don't mind. It works out for my team's favor because just like I predicted long ago, the Chargers, their run in the AFC West is done. They have North Turner as a coach. North Turner has never and never will win anything. So, as for me, this is just another day in Chargers land, so I'm not worried about it.
All right, well, for Chargers fans, I actually think they should be somewhat worried. On top of Vincent Jackson's already 3-game suspension, he is still one of the best wide receivers in the league. And a guy who gets incredible respect from me, Sean Merriman as a linebacker, probably one of the best in the business right now. And not to mention Marcus McNeil, really an anchor on that.
Ramsey, I hate to cut you off, Ramsey, but Sean Merriman was only the best in the league while he was still juicing. Since he got caught juicing with the steroids, he has not been even remotely close to the same player he was then.
Well, barring performance-enhancing substances, which we may not endorse here. I'm not sure about that. Got to check with the legal department. But, I mean, he still is. And let's look at the rest of their linebacker core. He's probably, without the juice, is still probably one of the better ones.
I think the biggest problem for them right now is Vincent Jackson holding out because without LaDainian Tomlinson there anymore, Vincent Jackson was their go-to guy when it comes to offense. Mm-hmm. And without Vincent in the lineup, this is going to become a problem. However, I don't see this being something long-term. I think these guys will get in there, work something out, and get back and get into camp before it's too late.
Okay. Well, Chargers fan, you may have some hope. And moving along to an interesting point that Serge mentioned on our first ever Foam Finger, which you should check out. Indianapolis Colts. It caught my interest, and I really got thinking about it after we finished filming, Serge. You mentioned that you do not think the Indianapolis Colts will be an important team, quite possibly even a playoff team next year. You got to elaborate on that for me, man.
Okay. And to all of our fans out there, let me explain my reasoning for saying that. It's not that I don't believe that the Colts are going to be a good team. If any team can break this possible curse, it would be the Indianapolis Colts. They have a phenomenal team. However, if history has shown us anything, the loser in the Super Bowl very rarely makes the playoffs the next year. And if they do make the playoffs, they are ousted fairly early. So, if I'm going off of what history has shown me.
But yeah, I understand where you're coming from, and I mean, like you're saying, you got to let history be our teacher on this. Look at Arizona this past year, knocked out in the first round. Go back to the Giants, go back to the Steelers. Nowhere near as successful as people should expect them to be. But I got to agree. I mean, very high-powered offense under Peyton Manning.
Patriots. Remember when the Patriots lost to the Giants? The Patriots lost Tom Brady the very next year.
Yes, they did, and I would still argue that even this year they don't have Tom Brady back completely. Interestingly enough, since we don't think they could quite possibly make it back even into the playoffs, I think they still can, but I understand your reasoning. I think it brings up the really interesting question of the AFC South. It's often forgotten, but I think there's two teams in the AFC South ready for a great breakout, and that would be the Houston Texans and the Tennessee Titans. Definitely not the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm sorry to any of our Jags fans, but tough break.
Let me say this about the Titans. Vince Young is about to mature, or rather, he isn't about to mature. I believe he already has.
Yeah.
I think Vince Young is going to become the quarterback that Tennessee had prayed that he would become when they drafted him.
Mm-hmm.
So, when it comes to Vince Young, I think he's ready for that next step, and they have the number one rusher in the NFL.
Absolutely, yeah. CJ2K, can't forget about him. I gotta agree with you there on the Titans side. I think Vince Young came back. They reinstated him last season. He came back to win 8 and only lose 2. Great record for that team. And again, you got a running back that can stay healthy and produce as much as Chris Johnson. Incredible. I think my one concern would be with the Tennessee Titans right now is I actually think they went back a bit on defense. But if their offense can continue to produce, I think they should be able, to beat that out. All right, now that we finished with the Tennessee Titans, the other team that's poised for the breakout in the AFC South would be a team that I'm actually a big kind of closet fan of, the Houston Texans. What's your impression of the Houston Texans, Serge?
Well, the Texans. I think that the Texans are due to kind of break out. They're going to be they're not going to be good right off the bat, though. I think the first 4 games are going to be tough because they're going to be without their defensive star, the former rookie defensive player of the year, who was suspended for 4 games, and his name is slipping my head at the top of right now.
DeMeco Ryan?
Yes, I believe that's him.
Yeah.
Suspended for 4 games for performance-enhancing drugs.
Mm-hmm.
That is going to hurt them. When the heart of your defense is kind of ripped out,
yeah.
You can't really perform at that level that you would normally perform at. So the first 4 games are going to be the telling story for the Texans. Not too familiar for what their schedule is like this year. So, of course, everything is based on strength of schedule.
In the AFC South, the 2 teams that are poised for a potential breakout actually have a similar problem. Kind of a little different. I think the Texans are a little more mature in their offense. You have Matt Schaub. He's a proven quarterback. He was the NFL's leading passer last year. Pretty impressive. And with good reason, look who he's passing to. He's got quite possibly, if not the best, one of the top 5 wideouts in Andre Johnson. So you have a very good offense that can produce. I got to agree with you. I was a big fan of DeMeco Ryan. He's a great linebacker, really is the heart and soul of that team. He has the ability to be all over the field. So yet again, just like the Tennessee Titans, their weak point, their Achilles heel of this team is going to be defense. And it's going to be the responsibility of the offense to pick up that slack. Now that we've covered all that breaking news from around the league, time for probably my favorite segment that we have aptly renamed the 2-minute drill. Coming from our rapid fire last week, more football-y, so it's more fun. Serge, our first question on today's 2-minute drill. Jerry Rice snubs the Raiders in the Hall of Fame speech. Big deal or not?
He is without a doubt the greatest receiver of all time. Don't believe me? For you fans out there that don't believe me, just wiki. All the awards that Jerry Rice or records that Jerry Rice has, the list is staggering. He should have given some love or some respect to all of the fans that were there wearing Raiders Jerry Rice jerseys, but because he's Jerry Rice, we'll kind of let it slide. And for you, your buddy, your best friend, Tim Tebow, got a haircut. How do you feel about it?
Unfortunately, I am familiar with it, and all I got to say, he's got the Friar John going on. That's what it looks like to me. Him trying to better his relationship with God, or just allow the perfect landing spot for the halo that inevitably will come to him. He's a tool. Don't like him. Hate him. All it seems like to me is that he's taking men's grooming tips from Phillip Rivers. They should go have a little powwow out there and have fun with that. He looks like an idiot. Put your helmet on and just go leave football. No one likes you anyway. Next one up, Serge. This may be a sticky issue. Should taxpayers foot the bill for new stadiums?
If it's an NFL stadium, the NFL and the owner of the team should fork over the money, not the taxpayers. Unless it's something, like in Oakland where it's owned by the Coliseum Authority by Alameda County, then yes, I could see something like that. Next up, refs admit that they screwed the Seattle Seahawks in the Super Bowl. Should there be a punishment, Ramsey?
This is a scary one just because, there's so many famous games that come back to blown calls, and this is just one specific case where they did come back and admit it was a blown call. And, this is probably going to be...
one blown call. There were multiple blown calls in that game.
There were. As in so many others, it usually never comes down to one. I, as a matter of fact, I'm still bitter over a blown call about 9 years ago, but let's not bring that up. But, funny enough, I'm going to say there should be no punishment. And, I'm going to sound like one of these idiot broadcasters constantly saying that's good refereeing there. But, being a ref is pretty difficult. And I actually think now, due to the advent of, the instant replay and you got the recall booth, it gets a lot better. But you know what? It's ultimately going to come down to the opinion of the referee there. They come together. They decide on this. And, stuff happens sometimes. You got to learn to live with it. I'm sure I'm sure a lot of Seahawks fans are not going to be happy with that. But that's what it comes down to. That's part of the nature of the game. With that, good night, ladies and gentlemen. And remember, stay manly. Say bye, everybody, Serge.
Peace.
Out.